Tales from Retail, Episode 7. Customer complains about us not having enough of a product but won't place an order. Short. I work at a smallish store that's basically for farmers. We have fencing and feed and stuff. This customer, who I've seen before several times, comes in and asks me if we've gotten a pallet of rabbit feed in. That's 50 bags, £2,500. I check with our receivers and they say that we don't have any in the back. I check in the spot on the floor and we have about 20 bags. Rabbit guy says he needs a whole pallet since there's a 5% discount for 50 bags. He says he has been waiting for 3 months and we haven't gotten it in and wants to know when it's arriving. I explained to Rabbit guy that the cashiers can see if it's on order, but not what day it will arrive. I then tell him that he can place an order. A special order like this is held in the back and the customer is called when it arrives. The waiting time for special orders is 4 to 6 weeks. After I tell him this, he just walks out of the store. My main frustration is that we probably got 3 different pallets in the time that he was waiting and he just missed them being full. If he had placed an order before he needed them, we could have had it for him, and he wouldn't have needed to even pay in advance. STEPS. This happened almost 20 years ago, when I was young and working part-time at a now-defunct supermarket chain. So there I am, on my knees working away on the eel stocking the shelves, when a woman approaches me with a question. This is fine, I don't mind helping customers find things. Taking them across the store usually equates to a nice little break from banging out stock. But that wasn't going to happen this time. STEPS, she says. I sort of do a double take and ask her to repeat herself. STEPS, she says again. At first, I thought maybe she was speaking a different language, but then I realized that her accent was local, and so thick that I couldn't understand it, even though I'm from the exact same place. So I ask if she could repeat it again, only slower. She's getting angry now, eyes narrowing. STEPS. And when I still don't understand, she starts losing it. STEPS. 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 Other customers are looking over at this woman, who is speaking to me like I'm the slowest, dumbest child in the class who can't grasp the basic alphabet. So I go and get my manager, who asks her what she's looking for. STEPS! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, quote. Now when even he has no clue, she really flips her wig. At this point though, we're saved by another customer who is able to penetrate her accent and we finally figure out what the hell she's on about. Dried peas that you have to steep in water before cooking. Greater than noun, peas plus non-existent adjective of the verb to steep, steepy, equals steepy peas. Greater than steepy peas plus very strong local accent equals steepy peas. So we took her to get her dried peas and she left, muttering at us like we were morons. This isn't as wild or entertaining as some stuff on this sub, but it's been almost 20 years and I still remember this woman. That's the last thing you should forget. Many years ago I worked at a popular bridal chain store known for its $99 dress sales. I worked in the alterations department as a seamstress. There's a lot of accoutrements and accessories involved in the whole wedding outfit, so we would be sure to remind anyone who called to make an appointment to bring the bra, corset, shoes, etc. that they were planning to wear on the big day. Otherwise the brides would show up in a grimy everyday bra and flip-flops or something and we'd have to reschedule. One fine day a bride showed up and she had a bag with her shoes, bra, tiara, and veil. She wasn't carrying a big dress bag, but that's not unusual. I just assumed her dress was in the store. I checked our holds but no dress. I went over and checked receiving. No dress. I got her sales lady and she checked around too. No dress. Well, I can't leave her waiting much longer, so I go tell her I can't seem to find her dress. Did someone call and say it was here? Could it possibly be under another name? The bride gets very angry. Sorry, but it's been a long while since this incident, so I only remember the gist and not all the specific words said. She starts the usual yelling. We're awful. We're incompetent. How could we lose her dress and cause her so much stress right now? After a few minutes of yelling, she said, you told me to bring my shoes and bra and stuff, but you never said to bring the dress too. Quote, the alterations manager, sales lady, receiving lady and I all look at each other in dawning realization. The bride seems to realize what she just said too, and her face kinda falls. She grabbed her bag and stormed out. Sure enough, we looked in the computer and the bride had picked up her dress months before. We didn't hear from her again. After that, we told brides to bring their bra, corset, shoes, etc. and dress if they have it. It's always an eventful night on the graveyard shift. This happened a couple years ago when I was the main graveyard shift manager at my pharmacy retail store. We normally have a security guard during this shift because 1. Our store was in a crime-filled city, and 2. Lots of people tweaked out on meth, heroin, etc. like to come in and steal or threaten to hurt us during this time of night. The guard on shift this particular night was new to our store, and I had been communicating with him the codes we have, our routines, and pointing out any regular thieves that came into the store. It was during one of these conversations I was having with him that I noticed a woman come inside the store. She looked extremely familiar, but I could not remember whether I knew her because she stole or because of something else. We both decided to watch from afar to see if she was stealing. The woman had walked down an aisle that held all of our seasonal summer items like pool toys, sandals, and sundresses. We kept watching from a good distance away. But then I turned my head to answer a question the guard had. When I turned my head back to look at what the woman was doing, she was wearing one of our sundresses and was proceeding to take her pants off underneath the dress. I was a little shocked at what I was seeing, and it took a second before I yelled out, "Hey!" Quote. The woman now had taken her pants off and was trying to reach the front door to leave. The guard stopped her by blocking her path, which he technically wasn't supposed to do according to store policy, and demanding that she take the dress off immediately. She starts screaming obscenities at him, but the guard doesn't budge. I call 911 because it looks like the woman is going to start assaulting the guard. She is screaming so loudly that the dispatcher can hear her through the phone over my voice. While waiting for police to come, the woman decides to give the dress back since the guard still isn't budging and letting her leave. Now, during this whole time we've dealt with this crazy woman, one of my co-workers had been outside taking a smoke break. He walked inside the store just as this woman was attempting to put her pants back on underneath the dress. She then throws the dress down onto the floor and then proceeds to take her shoes off and hurl them several aisles over. She then leaves barefooted and still screaming random obscenities out into the night. Police showed up not long after, but the lady was already gone. Afterwards, the co-worker who was on a smoke break comes up to me and tells me that he got a full view of the woman's lady parts as she was putting on her pants. Turns out the woman was going commando. It didn't faze him though. He previously worked at an adult store and got a good laugh out of it. And before anyone asks, we did not keep the dress she wore. We just took inventory of it so that it could be thrown out for sanitary purposes. The woman had come in before to steal, which I remembered after this ordeal, unfortunately. But she never did anything that crazy up until that point. She came in multiple times afterward, but I can leave that for another post if anybody is interested. She needs to apologize. Quote, mere hours ago, I had just started my shift for the day and went to my store's front register. Not even 10 minutes in, and I've encountered the first rude person of the day. Most aren't Reddit story worthy and I tend to brush things off. But this was something that made my co-workers laugh. On mobile, so apologies for anything misspelled. This older lady comes up and places her things on the counter. I barely get a hello in before I'm cut off and it begins. Me equals myself, C equals older lady, M equals manager. C places our store's brand of allergy medication on the counter. 3 boxes to be precise. You all normally give me 25% off on this. As she holds up one. Me, unsure as to what she is referring to. Pardon. See, you, all, raising her voice, give me 25% off on this. Me, still visibly confused, is there something wrong with the packaging? I don't see a sticker on it for a markdown. See, no, it's buy one get one half off. Quote, me, finally understands what she is referring to. Okay. Did you not want to get a 4th to complete the 2 buy one get one half off, or were there no more of the size you were looking for? Quote, need to ask, can't just give out discounts on a whim. See, I don't want any more than these 3. You never have enough on the shelves. Quote, well, that answered both my concerns. She didn't want to mix and match. And it seems like we might not have any others on the shelf from her choice of words. Changed the price of the cheapest, not coming up with a half off already, and applied the 25%. Ring up her other items. Asked if she wanted to use her saved up store currency. She paid and the receipt printed. See, was that the total after the senior discount. That was today. The days just blur together, especially as of lately. I even told her the total as she was watching the screen. Not sure as to why she didn't say anything before she paid. Me, sorry mom, I didn't even realize that was today. Let me call up a manager to post void this and I'll re-ring everything. It will only be a moment longer. As I call the manager, I can see as she rolls her eyes in quite a large arc and huffs every other second. Manager comes up, voids it. I re-ring all the items by typing in the upsies on the receipt instead on unbagging everything. Change the price once more. Apply the discount. Use her currency once again. And a good $40 off. She pays for it and leaves. Paid it no mind, rang up other customers happily and didn't think anything about how snippy she was. Until she called. Maybe an hour later is when it rang. I answered the phone, cheerfully recited the company words and then recognized her voice immediately. See, let me speak to the manager. Responded politely and placed her on hold. Paged for an available manager to answer the call and went right on back to work in the register. From maybe 20 to 25 feet away, I can see the manager pick up the phone. Couldn't make out words, but after long periods of silence the manager's responses sound like a mixture of cheeriness, direct, and also a little snippy. A few minutes pass of what seemed like them going back and forth. The manager hangs up the phone and walks off. Didn't want to ask what all that was about and minded my own business without question. It wasn't until I called for something at the register that she turned around and started to inform me of the call, without even being questioned about it. So you know that call that came in a little while ago? Me, yes, it was the lady I helped earlier. Let me guess, it was a complaint on me, wasn't it? You are correct. The manager went on by saying how the lady had started off the complaint that I was unbelievably rude to her, and she demanded that I apologize to her and that I need to be reprimanded for my behavior. Not once did I raise my voice or go anywhere from a cheerful tone. However, the manager had told the lady that she did not believe her complaint. That she couldn't see me being rude or that I had to give an apology in the first place when she knows I did nothing wrong. The customer didn't tell her anything about the transaction. So when I explained what exactly happened, my minor mistake at the end with the senior discount for the first transaction, and the customer's responses, attitude to things, it just got the manager laughing. And the assistant store manager behind her was laughing as well. They both agreed that nothing in there showing that I behaved as she had stated. but I am expecting her to call the corporate number and we might need to speak with the district manager. A random act of kindness. So, my last night at the store, I had 2 customers in at the same time. This woman came in and was getting water, Gatorade, Powerade, stomach medicine, and was on the phone with someone explaining that our store does not carry baby aspirin. She waved the customer behind her to go ahead and explained that she had to find a substitute because no one else was open that time of night. True, the customer behind her, a man, looked at her items as he handed me his items, 2 16-ounce beers, and told me, quietly, to ring up her items as well. So I did, and he paid for it. Then, after I bagged his beers and handed them over, he asked me to print a receipt for the paid items and put it with him after I had bagged them, which I did. He walked off as I was bagging the items. She came up to me, flustered, and said, he said he paid for my stuff. As I was showing her the receipt, he left the store. But why? Quote, I shrugged. I don't know, I said honestly. It's not like he told me why. After all, but if you see him again, you should say, thank you. Were you able to find the medications all right? Quote, this may be short, but I thought it was too good not to share. People can be nice and considerate towards each other, and I think that sometimes we just need a reminder of that. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more Reddit content.